Hey guys, morning. Welcome to the Academy Answers podcast, and I'm getting ready this morning for a very exciting podcast. I am so passionate about this topic because I've done tons of research. I've consulted with a whole lot of people on this, and I'm super pumped to deliver this podcast to you this morning. So let's go right in. This is not from a question, and this is the Academy Answers podcast. This is the podcast that we answer all the questions and we discuss the topics on personal finance, personal development, building something awesome that can serve you, connecting with your true potential, connecting with that thing, that God-given thing, that creator-given thing that is in all of us, not just in some of us. It is in all of us, and it is the thing that is at the base of our happiness and at the base of our best life. And until we connect with that thing, we will realize that everything we're doing might be a short burst of energy, might be a short burst of excitement, but becomes empty in no time because it is not who we truly are. Everybody wants to actually live out their true self because that's the only way you feel alive, and everything else is living in emergency mode. And we all know that we can't live in emergency mode for a long time. Then it becomes stressful, it becomes ridiculous, it becomes stupid, and we feel like we're losing our minds, we're frustrated, and that's why we're stressed. And you know that 66% of all illnesses have been linked to stress according to science. And you can't say you don't believe in science if you ever go to the doctor, or if you ever brush your teeth, or if you ever take a bath. All that is science. It's as simple as that. So people say, oh yeah, it's that science stuff, but you've been selective in your thinking, because science is why you take medication. Science is why you eat certain way. All that stuff is science. Science told you that, and science confirms what your biological body functions plays out to. So it's all science. So you have to believe in it if you ever go to the doctor, if you ever do the natural living thing that you're doing every day, like eating, breathing, sleeping, all that stuff. Same thing. So if you're selective, then that's not really intelligent. And if you don't have an intelligent perspective on life, this is not a podcast, I can't help you. Anyway, so we have this conversation that has been going on between a couple of friends of mine and my wife too. We talk about powerful stuff all the time. So we're talking about why people are so frustrated and why people don't get solutions. So I have this concept that I think I heard one writer say, it's not my concept, but he said that if you continue to have a shallow or surface look, I'm not quoting him exactly, on your life, or if you continue to look outwardly for solutions, then you will live half your life getting into problems, on the other half trying to get out of them, creating more for yourself. So half your life creating problems for yourself, half your life getting out of these problems. And it's something that I'm passionate about because, you know, what is obvious that the human experience is we've been conditioned to do is to look outside ourselves for problems, for solutions. Looking outside ourselves for the solutions we need, or half outsourcing or full outsourcing whatever we need to bring our life to wherever we want it to go, or to make our lives better, or to make our lives happier, or to make our lives worthwhile. So we are sick and we want the doctor to solve our problems. So what we do, we go to the doctor, we get 2 weeks medication, and we take it for a week, or we take it for a week and a half, or we take it for 3 days. As soon as we're feeling better, we stop. We don't care what the doctor says caused this thing, because if he says that you're having too much sugar, you're having too much salt, or you're not getting enough sleep, or usually you get a cold when your immune system is weak, or whatever this disease you get, we ignore all of that and we go back to what we're doing, because we know, or we think that if we get sick again, we can go to the doctor. So instead of taking care of our own bodies and saying, okay, why did I get that headache, or why did I hurt my hand, or why did I hurt my back? Instead of looking deep to say, okay, what is the root of the problem here? We ignore it, and then we go to the doctor and we say, yeah, the doctor, this is happening to me, give me some pills and give me some medication, and we're good. If our spirituality is not right, instead of finding ourselves and getting into our connected with our deeper self, we expect the pastor to tell us something at church. Or instead of stop spending so much and stop maxing our credit card and stupid stuff, we go to the church to pray for financial breakthrough. Instead of finding a way to create income for ourselves, we depend on a job, and we worry about a raise, and we trying to do some more time overtime and get a second job and a third job and a fourth job. And I'm not saying anything is wrong with that. I'm not saying that quick fixes, and I'm not saying that the doctor is not necessary and the pastor is not necessary and your job is not necessary. What I'm saying is that we are treating symptoms all the time. We are treating symptoms. We're not getting to the root of our problems. And as a result of that, we're stuck in a cycle. We patch them, we treat the symptoms, the real problem is still there, the real illness is still there, and it surfaces again 2 months down the road, 10 months down the road, 5 years down the road. We are not focused, our mindset is not aligned with finding the root of our problems and solving them in a real way. So we go to our jobs and we have to do our jobs, and we don't realize that, okay, we're selling time for money here. This cannot be the plan if these are my goals, or if I'm to be secured, or if I'm to take care of my family, or if I'm to see the best life. So if I am down here in Mexico or Dominican Republic or the Bahamas or Bali, and I'm stressing how I have to go back in 2 days, or why I can't go take this massage, or why I can't go for the store, or why I can't stop over in Europe and head over there to Paris where my friends are to have another 2 days, we are worried about that, and we complain about that, and we curse the job, and we're not realizing that it's not so much the job, because we took the job and we get paid for it. It's that we are not focusing on doing something that would give us that freedom. Next year or next 3 years, when we're on the same Bali vacation, complain about the same thing again. Or we're on another vacation in Santorini, complain about the same thing again. So instead of fixing the real problem, we patch the problem, or we complain about the problem. So that's our therapy. Our therapy is complaining, and our solution is patching, treating the symptoms. So we go to church and we say, the pastor was not good today, I didn't feel the message. Instead of getting into silence, knowing what our priorities are, finding our core, contributing, praying, reading the Bible, understanding the scripture, and living in the way of the scripture, and being kind, and being a good human being, and getting out of the noise. So we expect the pastor to bring the solution, instead of for us to go home and go over the word and understand the word. The same thing we do with our health. Instead of throwing out the sugar, instead of throwing out the salt, instead of eating better foods, we're saying that, oh, that don't taste good. Oh, I have appetite for this thing, and I want this nice tasty food, and we doing that. And then when we get into the illness and then we get into the problems, we start to complain, and we totally ignore what are the root causes of our problems. And as a result of that, that's why we're stuck. The message is, look to self. Obama has this thing when he says, no one is coming. You are the one you're waiting for. You're your own solutions. You're your own problems. You are your own rescue boat. no one is coming, the ship is not coming in. You must take personal responsibility for your life. That is the first mark of maturity. Taking personal responsibility for your own life. That's what you must do. You must take personal responsibility for your own life. If you don't do that, you will always have issues and problems. I think it was this writer said that you must take charge of your life. Make your own luck, make your own love, and whatever you do, go and push for happiness right here, right now on earth. Not by passively waiting on the Creator to bring you joy. Because it is your duty right now to take charge of where you are and where you're going to go. You have to say, what can I do? You have to look in that mirror and decide that, look, I am the solution. Whatever I need, I already have. And whatever else I want, I'm going to use what I have to get that. You have a free resource, the mind. If you are have your right mind, if you have your faculties, if you're not mentally ill, you can use your mind, especially in these times, to bring yourself bit by bit to a position of power, to a position of charting your own course. Listen, anything that is set up out there that you have access to is not set up in your own best interest. The guys who set it up have it in their own best interest. I cannot tell you the number of times I've seen hardworking, smart, good people spend their lives as a part of someone else's plan, only to realize that somewhere down the road, when they're out of energy, out of time, that plan changed. And now they are sitting there with all the trappings attached to them, the houses, the cars, the debts, and someone else flipped the switch, and now the lights are out and they're in the dark, and they have had to find themselves from a place of desperation. Some make it, most don't. Because when you are older, it's hard to regroup and to restart. And life has that about it. Life hits you on the blind side. So be strategic about your life. Build your life on simple premises. Build it well, so that as you go on in life, you are in better control, or more of your fingers are on the controls or on the steering wheel. You have command over the things that are important to you. The time you spend with your family, where you go for fun, what you eat, what you do, when you do it, and with whom you do it. If you get into the cloud, especially in business, in your personal economy, where you have your job and you get into the cloud about these companies and your company, your promotions, and all that stuff that is being withered away and watered down by corporations who are more and more pulling the control and tweaking stuff and suppressing everything that they have to give out. In other words, they are taking these jobs and turning them into shit so that they can keep more of the spoils. And as they cut staff and as they push away and scrap positions more and more, you realize that what you thought you would be getting when you're out of college, and the positions you think you'd be holding, and the time and the benefits and all that fancy stuff that were attached to the positions are gone, are things of the 90s and 80s. These days, there are a couple of corporate executives who make the big bucks. They are owned by these places for the most part. So they're fat, they're stressed, they work non-stop, and they make a good living, but they don't even get to enjoy it. They're waiting on retirement because their clock is constantly on, and they never stop. And before you know it, they're out of time and out of everything else, and they really never get to live the life that they think they would live. But they are in pursuit of because they're in pursuit of something else. And somebody who's writing that check decide that, look, I own you. This is when you work. This is how you work. This is where you go. This is when you go. And we get into these little boxes, and we're dying inside, or we have totally ignored what is important, and we miss everything: the games, the kids growing up, our wives' needs, and the houses we buy. We never get to stay in them and enjoy them because we're on the go, and somebody's pulling our string. We're just a puppet for somebody else, and we have designed a life that we don't even own, and we don't even enjoy. But we are so far down that social status rabbit hole that we keep up a facade, and we slowly die, and we're getting ill, and we're getting sick, and we miss life totally. But we put up a front, and we live in this front, and then the regrets come on our deathbed. That is no way to live. If you are uncomfortable with it, it's not you. If you are doing this thing and you're constantly thinking that there is a better way, then there is a better way. So these are the best times to take control of your life, whether it be relationship-wise, whether it be health-wise, whether it be financial. You know, we have those pillars of our lives that we must always be touching, and we must constantly think about them. It takes discipline, it takes work, it takes focus, but that's what life is. I think it was Pope John Paul VI who said all of life is a struggle, because those who get what they want handed to them become lazy and insensitive to the true values of life, because the very struggle and hard work that we try so desperately to avoid are the major building blocks into who we are today. So look to yourself. Think of how you play a part in where you go. And everything is your fault, and take on the attitude that everything depends on you. And never stop trying to search for the ways and the opportunities to take charge of your life, to hold the reins on your life. It is your life. If you give those reins to anybody else, they'll abuse it consciously and subconsciously, because their agenda and your agenda most likely will not align all the time. And sometimes when it is most important to you, it will be least important to them, because they have something else that is of a higher priority. You must understand that and know that living your life the way you really don't want your life to be is okay, but it's not okay forever. So you must be standing in something and deciding that this is not where I want to be. And while I have to be here, I am also doing everything in my power. Every waking hour that I have to spare, I'm using it to bring myself away from this and into the thing that I'm supposed to be doing, or that is mine to do. And you believe that for yourself, and you do everything to protect and to work that. Thank you, guys. So, personal responsibility. Personal responsibility. It is your fault. It is on you. You hold the reins. Look to self. And in everything you do, everything you like and everything you don't like, ask yourself the question, what can I do about this? What am I supposed to do about this? How much power do I have to change this, or to affect this, or to make some moves on this? Thank you, guys. Always a pleasure commenting.